In today's video, we're going to be talking about what you guys can do right now to land your dream job in the professional sports industry. What's going on, everybody? My name is Juan. As always, very excited to be back here talking with you guys about more sports creative content. And I feel like everybody else, I'm just kind of over this year. Christmas came and went. I hope everyone's holidays went well. But at the same time, I'm so ready to move on to 2021 and get out of this year, as I'm sure many of you are. If you guys aren't familiar with my dog just woke up. Little guest. I don't know if she likes the camera. She's just stretching and just getting ready. She was just sleeping. Like, that would have been perfect. Are you gonna dip? Anyways, if you guys are new here to my channel or unfamiliar with my content, then welcome. My name is Juan. Like I said, I am a 23-year-old sports content creator from Toronto, Ontario, and I occasionally do these vlogs and tutorials to kind of help people who want to get into the sport creative world but don't really know where to start, as well as just kind of talking about my experiences, and maybe you guys can take something away from them in your own journeys. So this video is going to be focusing on the professional sports side of being a creative. This is basically the holy grail for anybody who's a sports photographer, sports videographer, graphic designer, etc., etc. I know a lot of people, including myself, strive to get to this point where you can say you work for a professional team or organization, but you really quickly start to realize it's not as easy as just handing in a job application like you would with any other job. Essentially, what I want to do today for you guys is give you guys my experiences and some advice that has helped me and that I've discovered along the way in the last 2.5 years, having dipped my toes and starting working in the professional sports field. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a background information on me and what I've been doing for the last couple of years. I'm currently finishing my undergrad at Ryerson University here in Toronto. I currently in my 5th year, but for the last 3 years, I've been working as a content creator doing graphic design and video producing for their athletic department. For the last 2 or so years, I've been very fortunate to have worked for MLSE as a freelance video editor. MLSE, for those who don't know, is the entity that owns the Raptors, the Leafs, the Argos, and TFC. So I've been very lucky to have worked on some very cool projects over the last few years, a little bit less now with COVID, but I've also been able to do some occasional videography work for them as well. I've also been with TSN Bar Down here in Canada for the last year as a graphic designer for their social channels, and I occasionally shoot video for them time to time as well. I've also shot my fair share of freelance work here in Toronto in the event and commercial space, ranging from Canada basketball, professional women's hockey, and most recently working on a New Balance promo. Now, what I can't exactly tell you guys is the exact process in which I got these jobs and opportunities, but what I can do is talk about the steps and the things I did in order to properly prepare myself to get into the sports professional world, which ultimately put my foot through the door. I know everyone's journey is going to be a little bit different, but I hope you guys all take some value out of this to understand the steps that I had to take in order to enter the professional sports world as a creative. Now, starting off with step 1, and it's a bit of an obvious one, but you need to start creating content. It sounds easy enough and simple enough, but you'd be surprised as to how many people I have asked me all the time, hey, how did you get opportunity with XYZ team or XYZ, organization? But then I ask them what they do, and they don't necessarily have a body of work that represents what they want to do or have a body of work altogether to show for it. And I think it's as easy as just taking some initiative and going out there and doing it. If you can shoot for your high school sports teams, if you can shoot for your college sports teams, any local teams, I think that's the best way as a sports videographer or sports creative to just get out there and start creating content that you then can use to pitch yourself to these companies and to these teams in the future. And as a graphic designer, the one thing I did in that side was just sitting down and dedicating time to myself and creating designs for myself and experimenting. The more I did it, I realized I wasn't just improving, but I had a bigger and stronger body of work to show to clients later on when I wanted to be hired for my creative design work. Working with Ryerson Athletics was easily one of the best things I did early on in my career. I was able to shoot a variety of different sports. I was able to work on unique projects in the video and graphic space, and it led me to have a very diverse and unique portfolio, which really came in handy when entering the professional sports world. One quick thing about this, the more passionate you are about this line of work will result in you enjoying it a lot more and having it come a lot easier to you. A lot of the opportunities and jobs I've had have come from free work directly. So through that, I've just kind of learned that no matter what, your hard work will pay off in the end. Now, step 2 is building a portfolio from that content that you shot or created. To be perfectly transparent with everybody, every single opportunity that I've had in the professional sports world has required me to send my portfolio off to an employer or a potential client. For example, one of the jobs I'm currently in asked me for a portfolio as soon as I got in touch with them. At the time, I didn't really have one, but I vividly remember going home, sitting down and crunching an entire night just creating a website with my work on it. Now, obviously I would take some more time with it than just a night. For me, it wasn't very top notch, but it did the job. I sent it through and I ended up getting the opportunity. Since then, I completely redid and revamped my website. I made it look as clean and professional as possible, and it continues to pay off, especially when I have clients and opportunities coming directly from my website. Simply put, having a portfolio website at your disposal is the easiest and most professional way of putting your best work in front of a client or an employer. It's also really professional in my opinion, rather than just sending a Google Drive link with your work or an email with a bunch of attachments. Now, I wouldn't say you need to put all your work on your website, but you should put the best of the best. My website portfolio varies from features, documentaries, short form social media videos, my graphic designs, cinematic sequences, you name it. I just want to show the client, like I said, I have a lot of skills I can offer you. You just need to tell me exactly what you need. On that note, making sure your portfolio is diverse is super important in my opinion for anyone starting off. That way, when you go to a team, when you go to a client, you can show them exactly what you're capable of and why you would be a beneficial asset for them in the future. Now, step number 3, utilize social media for your brand and for your work. Having a website, super important, but I think nowadays, especially in the digital age when everybody is on social media, being able to have a brand presence and being able to post your work online will lead to so many opportunities for you guys. Specifically, Instagram has been so crucial and important for me in getting discovered and also getting hired for jobs and opportunities. I made the decision a few years ago to really focus my video work on my Instagram account rather than just posting personal things. For me, if you go on my Instagram, you're gonna see it's the majority of it is my video content ranging from basketball, hockey, and different types of videos as well. This gave me the opportunity to brand myself as a sports content creator, and that way when someone is looking for someone to shoot sports or design sports, if they find my page, they know right away exactly what I'm all about and what I can provide for them. This is the main way clients reach out to me, and it's also the main way I choose to network and meet clients and also other creatives, which I think is just as important when you're in this field, not just to look for clients, but to look for other videographers, other photographers, other designers that you can connect with and might be able to connect you with a possible gig or job in the future. If you don't want to convert your Instagram account or your Twitter account that you have right now into a sports specific or a content specific account, that's totally fine. Feel free to make a second account focusing specifically on the work you want to showcase. I have a completely separate account for my design page, and that was purely because I didn't want to mix video and design. I wanted a page where people could see different kinds of work and just focus on that. And I've been able to build a very different and very unique audience with that second account altogether. I think the best thing with Instagram nowadays as a content creator is the fact that you can build it up as a micro portfolio, which is really accessible and really easy for someone to search up. Nowadays, it's really easy to assume that most people have Instagram, so it's really easy to direct someone you just met or a potential client to your Instagram account if they just want a quick peek at what your work is and what you're all about. Like I said, a lot of my freelance gigs, both in sports and not in sports, have come from Instagram, I think due to the simplicity and how easy it is for someone just to send me a DM asking me about my work and if I'm available. When it comes to finding opportunities and jobs in the sports field as a creative, social media is a must, especially when it comes to networking. Step number 4, networking and relationship building is vital if you want to work in professional sports as a creative. I cannot personally begin to stress how important networking and relationship building has been for me in my career and how thankful I am that I took the time in order to understand the value behind meeting people, networking over social media or even in person. All, if not most of my jobs in sports have come from a professional connection in one way or another. Whether it was directly knowing a hiring manager or producer, or knowing someone who works for a hiring manager or a hiring producer, or knowing someone in the team of the organization, having a connection or several connections will pay off big time in the future. Knowing at least one person in an organization or team is the biggest difference maker most of the time when it comes to getting an opportunity or not hearing back at all and having to move on to the next one. Now, I think this is easily the most important step in the entire video, and I hope you guys gain some value to understand how important it is to have a great network, but also very positive relationships within that network. This isn't to discredit you if you're a great videographer or if you're a great designer, but if you don't have many connections, or if any at all, it's very difficult to move forward, especially if you don't have people to show your work to that could possibly hire you. A rule of thumb that I generally follow just from advice I was given early on in university and just through mentors in my career is that Number one, treat everybody you work with as an equal. And number two, do this because you never know who you work with or who you see or talk to. They could potentially become your boss or potentially become a supervisor or a producer one day. You never know who you're running into. It's really easy to understand, but it's important to know that being respectful and being a genuine human being goes such a long way in the professional sports world. You'll hear time and time again how small this industry is and how interconnected people are, and even within the last few years alone, I can fully confirm that this is 100% true. At the same time, it's so important to be confident in your work and your skill set. This is important because you never know when someone's going to be passing around your name, your Instagram account, or your portfolio to a potential client or boss. Make sure you're taking the time to build proper networks and make sure you're meeting as many people as possible and make sure you're building positive relationships from those encounters. At the same time, be respectful, be a good person, but also let people know what you're all about because all of those things will certainly go a long way. And finally, step 5. Don't be afraid of shooting your shot and just ask. I think the biggest thing holding a lot of people back and what held me back early on in my career was the fear of rejection, the fear of being told no. It's definitely a barrier that keeps a lot of people from pursuing their dreams or thinking that their dreams aren't achievable or they're out of reach. In all honesty, you're doing yourself a disservice if maybe you're just not asking that one team or organization if there's anything you can do to help them or if there's any way you can work with them, because there might be an opportunity you have no idea about. Another perfect example, again, coming from my time at Ryerson, and if you guys couldn't tell, I credit a lot to my success to the people and everyone I worked with at Ryerson. If you're watching this, shout out, love you guys. But a perfect example is how I got involved with the athletic department in the first place. I simply just reached out over an email. I got connected to the department head there and kind of expressed my interest in working with his team and kind of expressed what I wanted to do and showed him what I was capable of, and the rest was kind of history from there. Of course, that's not necessarily true for every position. In fact, it might be even harder when it comes to working in a professional sports setting. But at the same time, just hearing that, I hope you guys understand that sometimes just shooting your shot and asking a question and seeing if there's somewhere you can slot into can really put you in a position to succeed at the end of the day. But I don't think you necessarily have to ask for a job every time you want to shoot your shot. I've asked people simply, hey, I really want to get into the line of work you're doing. I really look up to what you do. Could I shadow you for a day? Could I follow you around and just kind of see what the behind the scenes in the day of a life is? Or another thing is just asking someone, hey, do you have a few hours free on this day? I would love to get a coffee with you. I would love to chat. And I would just love to pick your brain on XYZ subject. By doing one or both of these, they've opened up so many more doors just because I asked a simple question and I just took the opportunity and took a chance and just put myself out there to somebody in the industry, showing that I was willing and capable and that I just wanted to learn and I just wanted to get to know more about them and what they do. I think the face-to-face meetings in terms of going out for a coffee, for example, is a really good way of people getting to know you for your personality and your energy and your personality. And when it comes to job shadows, it's a really good opportunity for you to get yourself in the space, see if it's actually something you want to do, and also meeting other people that could also help you down the road when it comes to finding a job. Simply just straight up asking for a job isn't what I'm necessarily recommending here, and it's not what I want you guys to gain from this final point. When I'm talking about shooting your shot and just asking a question, I want you guys to understand that there is no harm in just reaching out to create a professional connection and introducing yourself and letting people know what you do, because then you're putting yourself in the position in the case they ever need your skill set, they can call upon you and then your foot's already through the door. Moral of the story, don't be afraid to drop people a line. Don't be afraid to reach out and introduce yourself and just kind of, pitch yourself, but also offer your services if they ever need help, because honestly, the worst thing that happens is they say no or they don't reply, but then you just move on to the next and you go from there. But I think just asking questions like that at sometimes can be tremendously beneficial if you haven't tried it yet. In conclusion for this whole video, this isn't a set formula that works every time. This is just what I've learned through other people and my experiences and how I've found to be in the right place at the right time and in the best position to now work in the professional sports industry as a videographer, a video editor, and a graphic designer. I've said this, I think, in my first ever video on YouTube, but in no way, shape, or form do I think I've reached the pinnacle of what it means to be a content creator in the sports industry. But I hope that these tips and these steps that I mentioned and talked about bring value to you guys, and I hope they help you in your journey when it comes to being a content creator in professional sports or working in sports altogether. Guys, please comment down below if you guys have any questions. I'm an open book. Anything you want to know about what I'm doing right now or how I've gotten to where I am, feel free to reach out, drop me a line. Like I said, don't be afraid to ask. But at the same time, let me know what you guys are up to. Let me know how you guys have gotten some of your opportunities, and maybe give some advice to people down below if you think you can help them out. As always, guys, if you guys enjoyed the video, if you got some value out of it, I would really appreciate it if you just liked the video. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Talked to a ton of you guys already that have subscribed. Really enjoy, networking and meeting with you guys and answering questions and getting to know you. And I would love for this little community to keep expanding. So please, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button below. And that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys all in the new year. Peace.